Joe Paris.
Joe.
Joe Paris.
Mr. Paris.
He could be quite the character at times.
He was a very quiet man when I first met him.
An amazing guy, one of a kind, I would say.
Joe was a person that was loyal, dedicated, didn't look at the clock. He was just taking care of things regardless whether that was AM, PM, or night, or Saturday or Sunday. That was the joy I knew.
Here they had him in the HR area in this tiny little closet with a little pocket door on it, and that's where he would sit. It was just like him and his desk. So we'd go in there and talk to him about CME things and questions that we had, and he was always very helpful in answering questions with us.
We would sit, stand, and talk about more than just milk, life in general, religion, spirituality, family, friends, and it was always a very nice learning experience from him.
Joe loved his family, Joe loved his faith, and Joe loved ice cream. Joe used to love to get together with dairymen and other members of the industry and sit down and solve all the industry's woes over a big bowl of ice cream.
Whether sitting across from him at the table negotiating or breaking bread with him, which we did a few times, it was always a pleasure. It's a good thing we were on the same side of the table. So it was a lot of him doing the negotiating and me just serving as a representative of the cheese plant. We were dealing with milk and cream. And so there was a lot of affirming what Joe said and looking at the other side of the table saying, yeah, he's right. He knows what he's talking about.
He'd always have something nice to say. Hey Kenny, how you doing in the morning? We'd pass in the hallway of the office and he'd always have some one-liner that he brought with him from Missouri, you know. He was homespun and he loved every day. And I never known a person like that. I wish I could remember some of the one-liners. He had them every day. He had a different one. You know, hey, Kenny, you know what the chicken said to so-and-so, or what the cow said, you know, all this stuff he brought from the Midwest.
Joe was such a dedicated person. He was committed to quality, and one of the things he done was noticeably that he was very concerned. He wanted to wear his GMPs, good manufacturing practices, and he would have his smock ready up in the moment he was leaving his office.
Then he had this habit that every time he came in the door, he didn't just gently shut the door. He would just like slam the door, and we're like, oh, Joe's here. And then with the copier, you'd hear the copier top go down, slam. Oh, that's Joe. So we always knew. So then Caesar named him Slammin' Jammin' Joe. And so then we finally told him, hey, this is the nickname he gave you. And he actually liked it. He owned up to it. So he would just like slam things harder just so we would know that it's him.
He was here with us for 20 years, and in all those 20 years, he was battling cancer off and on for 20 years. And I never heard him complain. Never heard him complain. I heard him always be upbeat. I guess it was his faith in his Lord and Jesus Christ. He was a strong Christian. And I guess that made all the difference in the world to him because he knew where he was going.
Joe was a true dairy co-op man at heart, and he spent the last 50 years as an industry leader and looking after dairy farmers because that's what he believed in.
I always counted him as a friend, and I always will. He was a good person.
Just friendly. Even though he was going through cancer 4 different times, it was amazing what he could do and how he handled it. And we all miss him.
I learned a lot working with Joe over the years, but most of all, I learned to face every day with optimism and courage.